They prepare to enter, and now Bobby Allison looks as though he's sliding down onto pit road, where Dr. Jerry Punch of the Motor Racing Network is waiting. He is our pit reporter today. Let's go down to Jerry.
Bobby Allison, the 48-year-old leader of the Alabama gang, will make his final pit stop, brings his Buick to his screeching halt here in the pit. Bobby Hudson, the crew chief, and the rest of the crew will go to work on the car. They will add 2 cans of fuel, clean the windshield, change 2 right side tires, and hopefully get him out in under 16 seconds. Allison's car is still in the pit. They're cleaning the windshield. Now up the jack. He's down to the wake. 15 and 9/5 seconds.
The excess fuel spraying from the 22-gallon tank of Bobby Allison. He roars by Cale Yarborough and back onto the track. The lead, though, and a spin. A spin, car number 2, Rodney Combs, and the yellow waves again at Daytona. So things will be confused even more as the Firecracker 400 continues on Wide World of Sports. 100 moving to its final stages. Tim Richmond in car 25 is the current leader, followed right closely by Buddy Baker in car number 88. You may see Dale Earnhardt and Bobby Allison right there in front of Richmond and Baker, and Yarborough right behind them. You are looking at 3 veterans who moments ago made a critical mistake. As the yellow flag waved, they moved on to pit road, but they did so before the pace car entered the track. As a result, they were lapped and are 1 lap off the pace right now. So they are not figuring in this battle between Richmond and Baker.
You know, what happened to Earnhardt, Allison, and Yarborough, as you see the battle now for the lead, it just proves that in this form of racing, split-second strategic decisions are required. To pit or not to pit. Look at Buddy Baker going high there. But when do you pit? I mean, even the old pros could easily make a mistake. On the other hand, oh, look at Bobby Allison cut out suddenly. Buddy Baker didn't make a mistake, and Tim Richmond didn't make a mistake, and suddenly they are controlling this race. And incidentally, Richmond has overcome the need for a long pit stop. You see Richmond leading the race in a long pit stop to replace a cracked windshield. So he has recovered from that to lead the Firecracker 400 in the latter stages.
It is Tim Richmond and Buddy Baker, and a 2-car cushion of cars off the pace in Bobby Allison and Cale Yarborough from the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place cars. Right now, it is their race as the sun peeks out from the dark clouds that once hung over the Daytona International Speedway.
A sudden move pulling out around Buddy Baker. There is Tim Richmond.
He swerved dangerously, but recovered nicely. Buddy Baker trying to slide outside of Richmond. Right now, they are just about nose to nose. Buddy Baker, though, sliding in front to grab the lead over Tim Richmond. Buddy Baker, who hasn't won since the Firecracker 3 years ago. Richmond, a hot driver this year. A win in Pocono, 6 top 10 finishes. Buddy Baker, one of those older drivers who has had to wait a long time between wins, and Richmond, who has been so much in the limelight. And by the way, when we forced Tim Richmond to think about Liberty Weekend, he reflected on America as only he can.
Well, you know, there's a lot of problems, and, you know, I haven't been a lot of other places in the world, but I'm just glad to be alive, first of all. And second of all, I'm glad to be an American. You know, what can I say? I'm one of the luckiest people in the world to be able to be an American. And I'm just glad I have a lot of other good people to be the same way. And not only that, but I'm an American stock car racer.
100-mile race drawing near. Buddy Baker and Tim Richmond now joined by Sterling Marlin. Darrell Waltrip right near the top. Richmond and Baker, their personalities so far apart, their bumpers so near. Baker, car number 88, Richmond, car number 25.
Richmond so short-fused. Baker at this stage of his career so amiable. And can you imagine the frustration of Bobby Allison sitting right behind him, wishing that he could be part of that dash to the finish, which is coming up so soon. Instead, he's a lap and a second or so behind. No chance at the win for veteran Bobby Allison.
Baker taking the high line, Richmond the low line. They remain still very close. Buddy Baker must be feeling confident. He is partners with a very unique man who's down in the pits with Jerry Punch.
Danny Schiff is the co-owner of the Oldsmobile. Buddy Baker is driving along with Buddy. Danny, you got to be awfully pleased. This is the best this car has run all year long. In fact, the 2 years you two have been together.
Well, we just opened our new engine shop about 4 weeks ago, and this is the first real good engine out of it. Michigan was our actually first one. This is our second one, and we feel real strong about it.
Buddy hasn't won in 3 years. His last win came right here in this race, 1983. I know he must be awfully excited talking to you on the radio. He must think he may have a shot at winning.
I think we have the best car on the track right now.
It's difficult to argue with Mr. Schiff, Sam.
It certainly is. Buddy Baker, really, I think, a surprise in some ways, despite his fine showing just a couple of weeks ago in Michigan. See him running that extremely high line. That is the line that Richard Petty used to use so effectively, running right up next to the wall, and today Buddy Baker is making it work right now.
Baker with Richmond still, and smoke right in front of the leaders.
It's Dale Earnhardt, and I guess he's lost the engine, smoke pouring out of the car. You can see he's losing control. Oil must have poured onto the rear wheels. Dale Earnhardt in big trouble, and remember, that is the leader in the championship. That is Connie Saylor slowing as a result of that incident. Dale Earnhardt, for a split second there, Al, in real trouble.
Tim Richmond has emerged the leader. Now remember, this is a race to the line with the yellow flag out. Buddy Baker right there, slowing down. Sterling Marlin has moved into second spot. But right now, it is Tim Richmond who has crossed the line and has grabbed the lead of the Firecracker 400 following the crash. A spectacular one right in front of the leaders, which sent them scrambling, by Dale Earnhardt.
All right, let's have another look at that. This could have been a very serious accident. It almost looked as if Earnhardt had it gathered up here, but too much oil, I suspect, was pouring onto those rear wheels. When he got down on the apron, it really threw the car. He almost flipped over there. You see him go hard into the wall there with the nose of his car. Smoke pouring off and obscuring the vision of the cars following him.
Bobby Allison diving down low, and there goes Buddy Baker. How close.
How very close.
Now watch, I think, the high line of the track. There goes Richmond, 25.
So, Buddy Baker going low, almost onto the apron. Tim Richmond getting by high. Sometimes it's better. Buddy Baker now pulling into the pits. Sometimes it's better to be a little bit further back in those incidents, Al.
Sam, just think of it. Greg Sachs won last year. Richard Petty the year before him. Buddy Baker the year before him. They all haven't won since they won the Firecracker 400. We'll be back for the finish. Is completed. That will make 157. It will be a 3-lap dash to the finish for the field at the Firecracker 400. It is something Tim Richmond has fantasized about.
So you can't really make a plan, but you kind of have a few options for when things do happen. But I can remember, and I still do it. I sit around and I daydream about how I won this race or how I won this, and was in a different position all the time. And I get more nervous sitting at the coffee table thinking about how I might win a race or what the circumstances might be and who I might be being beat by or beating for the win. And I get a whole lot more nervous sitting at a table daydreaming about that than I will out here actually doing it.
The pace car pulls away. Tim Richmond streaks in front of the field. The green is out. 3 laps to go. Richmond taking full advantage with some nifty driving following the crash of Dale Earnhardt. That did not hurt Earnhardt. He is okay, but it did hurt the feelings of Buddy Baker, who lost the lead as a result of it.
Richmond, now you must think, maybe thinking back to what happened at Indianapolis back at the end of May. Look at Richmond now as he cuts to the inside of the track, trying to cut off his pursuers, trying not to let them draft, slipstream in down that back straight. Remember that at Indianapolis it was Kevin Cogan first on that restart with just 2 laps to go. Bobby Rahal right behind him, and Kevin Cogan did not have enough momentum when the green flag came back out. Here, Tim Richmond ensured himself of having enough momentum almost by jumping the green flag, as I see it, in order to leave his pursuers behind him.
It is interesting to note, Sam, that there's a lot in Tim Richmond's favor right now. Three things, as a matter of fact, jump to mind. Bobby Allison, 22. Cale Yarborough, 28. Bill Elliott, number 9. Those are the three cars behind him, and they are one lap off the pace. Sterling Marlin is seconds behind. Richmond has a clear track in front of him. Also interesting to note that the top 5 cars on the restart, it was Richmond, Sterling Marlin, Darrell Waltrip, Ricky Rudd, and Bobby Hillin Jr. had never won at Daytona before. Right now, Richmond looks like he's well on his way to winning for the first time in Daytona as he gets the white flag. 1 lap to go.
Yes, but things aren't that secure. Did you notice him slide coming off that last turn? In other words, he is running it right on the limit, cutting across in front of the others down that back straight. Is a move very reminiscent of Neil Bonnet in his prime, trying to make sure that nobody follows him. Right now, Allison is following him, might be able to slipstream past. It doesn't matter. Allison not in a position to win, a lap back. And in fact, Allison looking gentlemanly to me, not actually making a bid on Richmond. Richmond looking good.
No one seems to be emerging from the pack for a last-minute challenge. Richmond into the tri-oval. Richmond across the finish line. The checkered flag to win the 28th running of the Firecracker 400. His 6th win, 5 of them on super speedways. We had rain, we had yellows, we had a couple of crashes, some nifty driving and mistakes by some important veterans.
Yes, and we saw the mixture of aggression on the part of Richmond, tempered with good sense and an awful lot of talent. A good mixture to win this race.
Richmond followed by Marlin, Bobby Hillin Jr., Waltrip, and Petty in Daytona.